welcome, guys, to this episode of Political Insights on Voice of Human. My name is Sarah Thompson, and I'm here with the leaders of the SRC LA House. So I'll just let them do their introduction.
Right Honorable Emmanuel Janansa, the SRC Speaker of Parliament. Zanu Emmanuel, the Minority Leader.
And I'm Sylvester Piadankwa, the Majority Leader for the House.
It's actually a pleasure to have you guys on this show. And thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate it. So I think there's this issue going on about the SRC Establishment Bill. That's the ESSIKADO campus. So can the majority leader, can you kindly give us a little brief something about it?
All right, thank you very much. So currently the whole issue is about the bill that puts the ESSIKADO campus. It gives them some privileges to have some independent activities on their own as the SRC. Now, some clarifications need to be made in reference to the bill. That is, certain aspects of the bill that was introduced to them in 2024, which serves as the basis for their current SRC administration. Some amendments need to be done in order to safeguard the integrity of the entire UMass Constitution and the University Statute. However, the amendment process and the proposals coming up are all suggesting that in their minds, they are seeing it as an oppression from the main campus, which brings some kind of tension in the atmosphere, especially with students who don't really understand what's going on and making references to just hearsays.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think that actually makes a lot of sense. So honorable minority leader, please actually want to ask you this question. Does the bill give ESSIKADO students full liberation from the main SRC?
Thank you very much for the question. ESSIKADO campus or Straight campus is a school, just like we have School of Petroleum Studies, just that is off campus. So one, ESSIKADO cannot be fully independent. That's what that's the reality. Okay, so what we intend to do is for some time now, ESSIKADO, even though they pay SRC dues and they are entitled to development and other things, they barely had a significant number of developments over the years. So previous legislators thought it wise that why don't we grant them some degree of freedom so that they can run their own affairs in terms of development and one or two stuff. You get it? But then with the issue arising, it's more or less like they've tasted power and they don't want to let go of that power, even though the bill entirely doesn't grant them some of the power they are now tasting. So that's where the whole back and forth is coming from. They are not fully independent, and there is no way they can be fully independent unless they are a different school entirely from.
Okay. When you were talking, you said something like their accounts. Does the SRD have a different account from main campus? Like in terms of SRC dues, are the accounts different from the main campus?
Initially, it wasn't so. You get it, but from the act that was established last year, they were supposed to be financially independent. So they are going to have a control over their own finances. That's what is stated in the bill.
Like
Yes.
now they have.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I think that
No,
is
is your question that do they have their own SRC account now? To our best of knowledge, we
No.
can't say whether they have or not. But what we can say is that they have control over their portion of the SRC dues.
right honorable. I really appreciate that. So this question goes to right honorable answer. Why does SRC establishment exist? Is it a purpose to prevent SRC students from winning SRC general election? If yes, why? If no, why?
I think to some degree the minority leader answered that question because the bill was made with the sole aim that Essikado campus would function financially independent, meaning they would have control over their own money and their own internal affairs. So, like he cited some example of developmental activities that need to go on. That was the purpose for the bill. Now, I keep hearing that we are trying to ensure that Essikado, it has been something people, Essikado students have brought candidates for election before. They didn't win.
Why do you think they didn't win?
I am not the best person to answer that. Maybe they didn't campaign well. They didn't win. Probably there might come a time where Essikado, there will come a president from Essikado as the SRC president. But if that time is to come, then there wouldn't be a need for the bill. If Essikado wants to be the SRC president, or a student from Essikado wants to become the SRC president, then there is no need for the current bill that ensures that they manage their affairs internally. And even for Essikado, for us to get a candidate from Essikado, personally, I feel like it's not a good idea.
Why do you think?
Parliament is on main campus. The development will still come here.
But there is also a parliament in SRID.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. Right now,
So I think we're actually making that. So let's just go to the next topic. Um, how independent is the SRID if SRC is literally under the authority of the main campus SRC? This goes to the Mr. Speaker.
come again with your question.
Okay. How independent is SRID if main SRC is literally under the if SRID SRC is under the authority of the main campus SRC?
They are independent to the extent of managing their own finances. That is the sort of independence they should have. No one should tell them how to use their money. Their senate there or their parliament there would tell them, oh, use the money for this, oh, use that is the sort of independence, which means they managing their own affairs. Now to it can't extend from there. Anything that goes out of Essikado campus is now in the authority of or should be in the authority of the main campus SRC. Essikado campus cannot have representation on council. And the main idea for an SRC is for there to be a voice on the university council, a student voice. That is the main idea of SRC.
Okay, sure. I think there's this thing that was going around, I think last week or something, about the ESSIKADO SRC president not being on the university council. What idea do you have about
The Essikado president cannot be on the SRC.
he's an SRC president?
He is not an SRC president. He is the Essikado president or Essikado SRC president.
So he's not the SRC
No.
president.
It is not possible for us to have two representations on the university council. There can be only one SRC president on the university council.
So why is the main campus SRC president on the university council and not him? He can also represent, and the main campus president can also be there.
So two people on council.
The ESSIKADO president can be on. He's also an SRC president. He said he's not because
The ESSIKADO president, okay, represent the affairs of only the ESSIKADO students. But then the SRC president here on the main campus, he oversees the interest of students both here and on ESSIKADO.
but SRD people didn't vote for our president.
It doesn't matter.
What doesn't this matter?
It doesn't matter. Listen, because the ESSIKADO president is on the SRC council here, SRC executive council, SRC executive.
Is it a new bill or
The old bill. The old bill. He's on the council, so he's supposed to report to the main SRC president. He's supposed to report to the SRC president. Then the SRC president, when he goes to council, He will go and report that issue there. And recently, they were sworn in. A new council was formed. Did you see the ESSIKADO SRC president there? He wasn't invited because they know the school knows there's
Recognizes only one
only
SRC.
one SRC president. Even the Minister of Education was there to swear them in. Why didn't they invite him?
Sure. I think that picture brought about the rumors that why is the ESSIKADO president not there?
So to clear up that rumor, that is why there is a need for the amendment of the bill. The amendment of the bill has some ambiguities to some extent that allows such rumors to go around.
And even recently, on Friday, when we had our sitting, one of the ESSIKADO reps, who happens to be the first deputy speaker of the ESSIKADO Senate or Parliament, himself said they are not interested in being on council. So where from these rumors that they want to be on the council?
And students talk, and
You
yeah,
obviously say it.
yeah.
Students talk, and we are doing our best to ensure that those rumors are cleared, and it is just a misunderstanding that shouldn't even
I think that's the reason for this interview in the first
exactly.
place. So Honorable Sylvester,
Yes.
please I would like you to answer this question for me.
Okay.
Why do you think students of campus feel they are being oppressed by the main campus? Quoting from a post on Yuma Daily News by ESSIKADO campus, the SRC president, no, sorry, the ESSIKADO campus SRC vice
Vice
president,
President.
His Excellency Kingsley Osaya, and I quote, "We will not accept any amendment to our Establishment Act that discard the legitimate interest and democratic freedom of the students of the federal campus." Please, did you hear this?
Yeah, I did.
So please, what do you have to say about it?
All right. So I would say that first, it's misinformation in the sense that the old bill they are holding does not grant them any grounds to speak about independence when it comes to ruling the students' affairs. It just gives them the opportunity as an extension. That's the provision of the old bill, as an extension of the main SRC. And that all activities of the ESSIKADO SRC should be coordinated and be under the supervision of the main SRC. Now, these statements running about are just feeding the student populace with wrong information. For example, to say that you are not going to accept any amendment that opposes the democracy, what, these issues are just going to paint a different picture, as if the old bill granted them grounds for self-dependence. But then it actually did not grant them grounds for self-dependence. It actually gave them the privilege as an extension of the main SRC.
Just to add something to it, personally, when I saw that those flyers were going around, I was very shocked because yes, I was very shocked because I thought the main idea of the general meeting was to clear up the misunderstanding or misinformation that was going around. Because I think on Friday, um, we were at Saturday, I together with the president and the vice president, we went for a meeting and we met the ESSIKADO Speaker of Parliament there. Then the ESSIKADO President was also invited there, together with, I think, one lecturer from ESSIKADO, where we spoke about the bill and how we would go about it to solve all these misunderstandings. So I thought the meeting or the emergency meeting that was called was to clear up any misunderstanding or any rumors that was going about, and also to inform them, not to bring around codes that are going to make main campus seem as oppressive. Because when you do such things like that, it makes it seem like we are fighting, but we are not. there have been several letters released from my office to invite stakeholders, electoral commissioners, ESSIKADO president, ESSIKADO vice president to come to our parliament to discuss the bill. To add to what Right Honorable just said, when you read Section 1, Clause 1 of the ESSIKADO Act, the last statement says there is only one SRC, and the ESSIKADO Campus SRC functions as an extension of it. So how then do you tell us you have an SRC and someone is trying to oppress you? Now let's go back to what their vice president is saying. Section 15, Clause 1. Any ambiguity or dispute arising from the interpretation of this act shall be resolved by the SRC Parliament in consultation with legal advisors. Sarah, let me ask you, who is the SRC Parliament? Where is it? Does it mention SRC Vice President? They don't have a voice in the amendment of the bill. I'm telling you today, they don't. We can choose to nullify the act because it even goes contrary to the SRC constitution. If you read Article 2, Clause 2.1, the last statement also says that unions in UMAT or any other institution or any law found to be inconsistent with any provision of this constitution to the extent of the inconsistency shall be null and void. We can actually nullify the bill. Okay, then everything will go back to the normal system because the SRC constitution makes provision for that. But then we are not doing that. What is the use? We are the voices of the students. We must hear their voice.
Nobody is trying to oppress you. Why all of a sudden amendment?
Just said that the bill has some clauses that contradict with the new SRC.
It's like less than a year. So when you guys did it last year, you guys didn't find it.
No, you see, the bill last year was done with the aim of let's solve the current issue. What is happening currently? Let's just solve it and move forward. And I really thank God that.
But what was the issue then?
The issue was that there was no developmental activities on campus. Yes, when we come to SRC week, we just provide them with 2 buses for them to come, over 2,000 students. That was the issue. So the parliament then was trying to solve an issue then. And to stand here or to sit here and say that voices weren't raised in parliament, it would be a lie. But then, let me not speak about that. No. Let me not speak about that. All I'm trying to communicate is that we thank God that there is no part of the act that says that it could not or it can't be amended now. So since it can be amended now, we are doing it to ensure that the right thing is.
So talking about the amendments of the bill, what are some lapses you think are in the bill?
Hello.
Can you give us like some? I think majority, you said a lot. I think you all can give like 2.
Oh, yeah.
Majority leader.
All right, so thank you very much. The first inconsistency I would cite, the issue is that what establishes the Students' Representative Council did not begin with the UMAT early. It began with the University of Mines and Technology Act 2004 in the Parliament of Ghana, where it is stated clearly that there shall be a Students' Representative Council. A Students' Representative Council. That means the SRC is one. Now, coming down under the SRC, these 3 arms of the government, the SRC government, are also identified as a single body each. That means the Executive Council is one, the Judicial Council is one, and the Legislative Assembly is one. We cannot have a parallel system in any of these. That means any extension that comes out of it must be in subordination to that. So if the bill made provisions for the SRID campus to function as an extension of the main SRC, that means obviously whatever is is supposed to happen under the SRD SRC governance system is supposed to be in subordination to the main SRC. Now, the next thing is that there are so many things outlined in the bill that do not fall in alignment with the main SRC constitution. For example, let me talk about the early house. In the Legislative Assembly House, this bill, the old bill given to them, does not point out it doesn't point out in any way that maybe we should have a WUCOM rep in the house. But then the SRC constitution identifies a WUCOM rep as part of the Legislative Assembly, which means this should not be able to stand the test of time, provided that it is stated that we should make reference to the main SRC constitution. How about it answer?
Thank you. Even as to that, right on our way. Or you think
Oh, I don't need to think about this. Um, there, there are actually a lot of inconsistencies. When you come to the section 1 of the bill, number 2, we see that the ESSIKADO campus shall function independently, but in coordination with the main SRC. And you can't function independently and also um,
I
Did
think
you?
yeah, I'm just clarifying some things. You can't function independently and also function in coordination with. Now, when you come to the Legislative Assembly, the SRC Constitution also states emphatically that there shall be a Legislative Assembly, which means one, one speaker, which is I, the Right Honorable Speaker, Emmanuel Janansa. That is it. That is a clear thing. Now, when it comes to electoral commission, the electoral commissioner there must report to the main campus electoral commission. The chief justice there must report to the chief justice here because there is only one SRC. I don't know if my point is well established. So there is a need actually for the amendment of this bill or this act. We have to make sure that years to come, people don't sit down and question that. So there was a right honorable like this and did nothing on this issue. Yeah, I think so. Those are some of the major things that need to be looked at.
honorables and you want to adapt or
Oh yeah, I don't really have much. My right honorable speaker said, or the majority leaders also addressed almost everything. But the only thing I just want to say is, because the when you look at the SRC constitution, it's saying an SRC president, a legislative assembly, a judicial committee. So creating another legislative assembly, an SRC president who is even performing the duties assigned solely to SRC president. For instance, SOSA is the responsibility of the SRC president to come and address the student body on the the state of the student address. It is his responsibility. But here lies the case, there is another SRC president who is not even recognized by the school authorities as an SRC president. I'm saying that because if he was recognized as an SRC president, he would have equally been on the council by now. Do you get it? So we can't have a system of parallel government. That's all we want to do. We just want to clear ambiguities. That's all.
Shadow president, that is it. Not SRC president for ESSIKADO. No, it is not
They've
possible.
even removed the SCADO and they are doing it SRC president.
right honorable. I know it's actually the school of Ruri or
Yes, and
infrastructure.
infrastructure. Yes.
That's the faculty on its own. So
A
It
if
is
like
school,
not
you
a
a
get
school.
faculty,
It's a
it's a
school.
school.
so a school on its own. So you guys were amending the bill last year.
when we were not when we were making establishing the bill.
This one was established last year.
No,
Last
we
year
are
was
saying last year when we were amending it. The bill was brought into existence last year. So this year we are amending it.
Establishing the bill. Why didn't you guys better focus on like a school rep or like just as you have here, like a faculty
Faculty
rep
rep.
and everything, instead of being SRC president and SRC vice and treasurer and everything? Because I definitely believe that. I think that SRC, if you put this into people's head, they actually like believe that, oh yes, I can actually be on my own. Because you guys are putting this, oh, we can have our own SRC. I can actually be on my own. Why didn't you guys do that?
For why it was not done, I can't speak much about it, but I can talk about, was I the speaker? I wasn't the majority. Yes. Exactly. My voice will say something, but my voice is not the majority voice. We take votes in parliament. You get it? There are people who opposed the bill last year, but the bill is still in existence. Do you get it? It does not mean that we didn't talk about it or
Last discussion on election. There are rumors that established students participating in this main campus election this year. How true is that?
I can't speak much on that, but it's still under discussion because under normal circumstances, like how you cited that they didn't vote for our SRC president. So how then is our SRC president representing? To avoid such things like we didn't vote for you, so why are you representing it? That is why we propose that um, there will be a general election where ESSIKADO would also participate in, would vote. That was the proposal. But then, and it was such that they wouldn't be allowed to bring candidates because if they are allowed to bring candidates, then the whole purpose of the bill is not needed. But then, after further consultations, if you are partaking in an election, you have the right to also be voted for. Do you get it? That is when the oppression comes in. When we do a general election and don't allow them vote, don't allow them be voted for. Sorry. With they partaking in the election, but we are not allowing them to be voted for. That is when the oppression comes in. That is when we are being autocratic. So after further consultations, the ESSIKADO president on Friday suggested that since ESSIKADO is selecting a voice, and the voice is subject to the executive council of main campus, then there isn't actually a need for the double election because all those voices are automatically subject to main campus, which I think if you really think about it critically, the SRC constitution is not against that. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So as to when there will be a general election for both campuses, it is still under discussion. But per what ESSIKADO president suggested, I feel it is even the best option to go with.
So to finalize the discussion, what are some things that the bill doesn't allow the Estado SRC to do, but currently in practice? Guys on that.
What are some things? There can be only one local president because it is only one person who will represent us at the national level. We can't have two local.
I think last year they voted for the.
That is allowed because the coordinator is supposed to coordinate the affairs here and report to the current local needs president.
And so I don't think that thing is being in practice. Because last year they voted for local news code.
Have you not seen anything going around saying local needs presidents, right? Me, I have.
me,
I
I
have.
have.
So that means they're actually giving themselves a new license.
Exactly. And many other.
They are just interested in it.
Okay, that's very good. That's actually very good. They like the title.
Title
No,
is
but
good.
then you see the title that they like can't continue because we don't know the future. You get it? If we leave some things uncorrected, within some few years to come, now the Escado people will also be arguing that I'm the local news president, so I should be on the national news. Do you get it?
It,
That's why we want to correct some of these.
they brought a proposal. Escado brought a proposal, and they were asking that we even add local news secretary, local news treasurer, and a whole lot of other portfolios there. If that is to happen, then one, we are just wasting away the SRC funds because after all, it is only one that is going to be represented at the national level.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think this is the end of our discussion. Thank you, Honorables, for actually coming. Is there anything you would like to say to our viewers? Minority leader.
Thank you very much once again. We we just want to say that nobody is trying to oppress anybody. We are just trying to clarify certain things and make certain amendments which wouldn't go contrary to the SRC constitution because when it does, that document becomes null and void and we can actually just push it somewhere. We don't want to do that. So we are trying to just see the system is the same, the structure is the same. We are just changing the grammar. That's all we are doing.
To clear ambiguity.
There is no oppression anywhere. Are we taking their money? No. Are we taking their Escado presidency away? No. It's just grammar we are changing so that in the near future there wouldn't be a need for conflict and back and that's all what we are trying to do. Thank
Thank you, Honorables. And Honorables, do you have any last words?
Okay, thank you very much. My last words will be directed to student leaders in ESSIKADO. The back and forth of these information circulating around is as a result of some statements made by major stakeholders. These statements, when they come from such people, and they are not to educate the students on the right thing, but rather raining sentiments and personal opinion on it, then it paints a different picture to the students altogether. So I would say all student leaders and stakeholders in this issue should desist from circulating any form of misinformation and also should make up their minds that the actual thing to do is to educate them on the do's and don'ts as proposed by the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorables.
Madam Sarah, please before right honorable speaks, let me just say something briefly. If you go to Article 2, Clause 2.1, the Constitution shall be the supreme law. Emphasis on what? The supreme. So I want to tell my very good friend, Right Honorable Ahmed, the SCADO speaker, that we've seen his reply that he sent and copied that. We've seen them. And he's always quoting the 1992 Constitution. Meanwhile, the SRC Constitution here says that the Constitution shall be the supreme law. So please, if he wants to engage in anything about the bill, it should always come from the SRC Constitution or the standing orders governing the early.
Or the
Okay.
bill itself
Or
that
the
gives
bill
the
itself.
supremacy.
Simple.
Exactly, the
The
bill
It's very
itself.
simple.
These are the three
1992.
document issues. So it shouldn't always the 1992 constitution, the 1992
It is when there is
constitution.
something that is silent here, that is when we refer to the 1992 Constitution.
Honorable,
Yes,
I
please.
think this statement to me too.
Me too, the last thing I'll say with what the minority leader has said, the majority leader has said, the law is the law is the law. That is what I have to say.
Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate your presence here. And we hope to see you next time. Thank you, the end of our discussion, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. See you next time.